WrestleMania 40 is one hell of a pay-per-view. If it was the show that sold you on the two-night format, I get it. It's just so easy to watch. You also have two stellar main events situated around The Rock and Cody Rhodes finishing his story. Now I'm thinking about it, it's wonderful. Of course, hindsight is a powerful tool, and now, well, there's probably a few things WWE would like you to forget. Number 10, Brock Lesnar was meant to work the show. You only need to do a quick Google to see there's no smoke without fire. Brock Lesnar versus Gunther was definitely on this WrestleMania 40 card at some point. It begs the question what we would have done with the Intercontinental title, but either way, it's the reason Lesnar missed the show where the problem lies. He was seemingly named in that Vince McMahon lawsuit. We do have to skirt around this due to legal issues, but if you read that thing, my gosh, support with the victim always. No one should ever have to go through that. It was heavily hinted that Brock was involved here too, and yeah, that is why he went away. Can't have those two things tangled up together, even more so in a 2024 world. So that is just bad, there's no two ways about it, and I would guess in 2025 we shall learn more, and only then will we be able to get into this deeper. Number 9, the Hall of Famers. Who didn't even ever have a match at WrestleMania? I tell you, my friends, I love statistics like this because I am a nerd. I'm sure some of you will disagree too, but I do have to say, I just enjoy anyone and everyone getting their moment at the WWE Hall of Fame. All wrestlers bust their ass to some degree. Just give them a moment when it feels like it's all worth it. The four in question were Paul Heyman, Leah Maivia, Bull Nakano, and Thunderbolt Patterson. This ties into my earlier point. All of these had contributed hugely to the industry. I'm sure we all know Heyman basically took wrestling and dragged it into the modern era during the 90s. And as for Bull Nakano, take your pick. One of the greatest wrestlers ever. She also appeared in WWE for a short while, so that is enough. And Leah Maivia was pivotal in terms of the Anoa'i family and making Hawaii a hotbed for wrestling. That was her turf. Also helped a bunch of wrestlers behind the scenes. Thunderbolt was also another dude who opened the door massively and could cut one hell of a promo. But yeah, he was actually retired before WrestleMania was born. So we should do more of this, or people deserving credit for busting their ass. Could all stop being so mean, but if you do like to have a little bit of a giggle, yep, none of these people ever actually appeared at a WrestleMania. Number 8, The Rock swearing. I mean, it was fantastic, wasn't it? Dwayne Johnson knows he's untouchable and took advantage of that. Remember that F-bomb he dropped on Raw? I was there live. The reaction you heard on TV does not do it justice. The reason WWE wants us all to forget this, though, is because understandably, the rest of the roster saw this and thought it was open season. If The Rock doesn't mind, hell yeah, let's just call everybody a piece of shit. Of course, that's not how it works, and the powers that be had to tell their cast of stars to walk it back a bit. This is still meant to be programming for all. The real highlight is that WrestleMania 40 tag match, because man, whether he meant to or not, the camera audio kept picking up the final boss's swearing. He was doing this like a trooper. I loved it because we rarely see this and therefore it was refreshing. It also gave us the line, "Off is the direction you can flub." Well, of course, Dwayne Johnson did not say flub, but that is an all-timer. Number 7, the fans popped for Dean Ambrose. Given that occasionally WWE will drop in Dean Ambrose's name when talking about the Shield, I think they get it. Fans don't forget, we're like elephants, so why fight it? This one was hilarious too, because when the Shield music hit during the Mania main event for some reason, we all thought this was Dean. We're dreamers to say the least, and good grief did we pop to this. Be very excited. Even better was John Moxley was actually in Japan, so this was never happening, and he did comment on this. He too was tickled by it, but made it clear when it did go down, he was asleep. I mean, you gotta love him. The good takeaway is that the enduring legacy of this group remains and always will do. I very much doubt Moxley will ever return to WWE, but if he did, he's gonna get an all-time pop. Number 6, Jay versus Jimmy was disappointing. This was all the chat at the time, and there was some truth to it. After the fact, Jay discussed it in an interview, and he too said he and his brother could have done more. Actually, he was sure of it. One day they will run it back and prove it. Still, when the match was finished, the reaction was disappointing, and in many ways, it's a huge compliment to these two. That's how high the bar was. We were all expecting huge things. I actually think it's better than some say, but it is still only okay. And look, they sort of made up for it on the Sunday. That spear off the stage was nuts. It stands to reason that nobody involved would want you to talk about this, however. It just created badness. And as a fan of both Usos, I do hope they get a chance to do a round 2. I totally believe they can make up for it. Number 5, Samantha Irvin doesn't like her job. Which is fine, by the way. You can't just go, oh, but she's really good and has a platform, therefore she must enjoy ring announcing. Do you have a brain? That is not how that thing works. As we found out soon after WrestleMania 40 though, Samantha Irvin was exiting stage left because this isn't the position she saw for herself. She wanted to be more of a character and get involved with some proper stories. It certainly sounded like WWE understood to a degree and they parted ways amicably, but good grief, it caused a stir. Again, it's a testament to her. People really enjoyed the way she approached this because she injected some real emotion. That is why I respect her even more too. Deep down, she knew this wasn't for her, but still got this sort of performance out. Well, that's the opposite of phoning it in. That is someone who is going to do a top job regardless, and I really do wish her all the best down the line. Number 4, the Brothers of Destruction. Not brothers. It sounds ridiculous to say, but this still happens all the time. People just think The Undertaker and Kane are real-life siblings. Now, I do get it because it was pretty good casting. They're two huge men, and their careers were intertwined. It's easy to suspend your disbelief. WWE didn't do this directly because they wouldn't dare, but it was made apparent during a WrestleMania 40 video package about brothers fighting at the Show of Shows. This was, of course, because we did have that Uso versus Uso match, and while during this video we listed Matt and Jeff Hardy and Brett versus Owen, we didn't get one mention with the Dead Man and the Big Red Machine. The truth behind this too really does come down to the fact that Mark Calloway retired. For the first time in his career, he's being super open about his run. This includes everything he did do with Kane. Now it takes one Google to prove the lie. It's why Edge and Christian aren't here either. I feel like I'm ruining all your dreams, but they are just the best of friends too. I mean, that's basically being your brother anyway. I mean, what's in a name? Number 3, double duty. Over WrestleMania 40 weekend, a lot of wrestlers did indeed pull double duty. Obviously, the most obvious is Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, who dominated the main event, but Seth Rollins was putting in a shift too. He was also in the last match on Saturday, and then opened the show on the Sunday. The Rock also bookended things, and Damian Priest was all over this too. He also cashed in his damn Money in the Bank. His workload went over the 2 days. I'm not entirely sure WWE would care if you forgot, but it does highlight that they pulled this off with a relatively small crew. It's sort of the secret sauce for WWE. They're actually very good at it. Number 2, they couldn't get Steve Austin. The WrestleMania 40 Sunday night main event is one of my favorite matches for a while. Second half is wonderfully ridiculous. It gives up being a fight and becomes a cameo party. I love it. Having The Undertaker appear at the end was a very nice touch. Just look at the crowd reaction. But this wasn't the one that everybody wanted. As I'm sure you can figure out given The Rock was in the ring, everybody thought Steve Austin was going to be in this spot. I mean, can you imagine? It honestly would have taken this whole shebang into all-time territory for me because the combo of the glass breaking and Austin and The Rock facing off one last time, my 10-year-old brain would not have been able to handle that. WWE knew this too and did ask Steve. He said no. The reasons are unknown, but you can get an idea if you listen to various interviews. It feels like neither party could come to an agreement. So more power to the Rattlesnake for knowing his worth, but the fan in me is so sad about this. I'm not sure I'd actually ever recover. Maybe I would just retire from watching wrestling altogether. Number 1, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. You know this was big. I mean, the WWE made a whole YouTube documentary about it. This is why it goes in at number 1 though, because there's a reason that it exists. WWE wants you to remember this version of events, and there's another story that's far more chaotic. In short, the main event of WrestleMania 40 was meant to be The Rock versus Roman. That's why Cody Rhodes gave up his spot after winning the Royal Rumble. The word had come down from the top. If there had been no backlash either, everybody would have moved forward regardless. When those Twitter hashtags went off. From nowhere, American Nightmare fans demanded we want Cody. This got so out of control, we had no choice. We had to pivot. There's that word. Now we do have to give Dwayne Johnson credit because shifting to the final boss character was genius. And the best version of his wrestling self he's played in ages. That dude was a laugh riot. I also really like the tag match on night 1. Looking back now, it worked out for the best. Cody had to finish his story. Would have been absurd otherwise. And really that's all that matters too. We got to have a great evening, even if it took some shuffling of the deck to get there. The final result is always what's important. But yes, Don't remember how mad this was for a few days, because believe you me, my friends, this one caught everybody off guard. Know of anything else that WWE would like you to forget about WrestleMania 40? Please do drop me a comment below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also click the video on the screen to get even more facts about WrestleMania 40, but otherwise, my dudes, you take care, and I will speak to you again very soon.